When Moses saw the burning bush, he found himself bewildered by how the bush didn't burn completely. He continued to look at the bush until God said that it was him. At that point, Moses turned away because, according to the passage, he was afraid to look at God. Some of us find ourselves afraid to look at our friends or family. I would not be surprised if every single person listening to this sermon had sinned against someone, and I would be very surprised if someone listening hasn't. We are not perfect, and we make mistakes. Whether intentionally or unintentionally, we end up hurting others, and we can find it hard to live with that. Just like Moses was scared to be face to face with the maker of heaven and earth, we may find ourselves scared to be face to face with the people we have wronged. And understandably so. These are people we care about and want to protect. These are people we are close to. We want to do what's best for them. And we end up doing the worst. Sometimes we apologize for these mistakes, expecting to be hated by them, but find ourselves forgiven. And once we do, we find it so much easier to look our loved ones in the eyes, to be able to stand the sight of ourselves in the mirror, to withstand the heat of the bush. Some of you that have known me for a long time know that I'm not particularly fond of my middle school self, particularly when I was in 8th grade. I look back on that year and feel a weight on my back due to the hurtful things I did and said. One thing in particular stuck out to me. For the longest time, it was a joke I said. It was second period math class, Monday morning. We were going around and saying what we did that weekend, and one girl mentioned how someone close to her got hurt that weekend. Not understanding the seriousness of the matter, I made a joke about it. The teacher yelled at me, and I imagine the girl wasn't all too happy with me. Although, I never knew for sure how she felt about it, as she sat behind me and I didn't turn around. Nor did I apologize for the joke at the time. For years, I felt the guilt of that joke weighing on me. I would constantly think about it and wish and wish and wish that I had never made that joke. Flash forward a couple of years, and I'm a junior in high school. It's December, and that meant it was time for the Colorado Thespian Conference, or ThesCon. It was 3 days and 2 nights of high school theater fun, with one of the best parts being going out to lunch and dinner with your friends. The group I typically went to get food with had learned earlier that I had never been to the Cheesecake Factory, so we went there for dinner Friday night. Our group was me, 2 friends, and the girl I heard with that joke. The mealtime conversation started out like any normal conversation, aside from me looking at the menu and acting like a child on Christmas. As time went, the conversation got more and more deep and more personal. And at one point, my mind drifted to the joke that hurt the person sitting directly across from me. As we waited for the check, I decided to apologize for it. While I don't remember what she said in response, word for word, she essentially told me not to worry about it, and that she forgave me. Since that emotionally healing night at the Cheesecake Factory, I found myself still wishing I never made that joke, but not dwelling on it. I find myself no longer constantly thinking about it, and I found it easier to face her. If I have learned anything from my years at church, it's to give the same forgiveness to others that she gave me. To not throw the first stone. To make it easier for them to look at me. To make it easier for them to look at the burning bush.